Yes, there is Tintin, The Adventures of Tintin. But can you guess which Tintin is this? Let's find out. The very first Tintin ever, The Adventures of Tintin and the Land of the Soviets. This came out in the year 1930. Now this is clearly the work of an amateur, and as you can see by the artwork, it's not very good. And Herge or Herge, I don't know what is the exact pronunciation of the author's name, who was from Belgium, wrote this book which was extremely prejudiced against the communists. The foreword says that Herge had not been, it says that he had not been to Russia, but he based this book on a book by a former Belgian consul called Joseph Dulier. Also, in this book, you only see Tintin and Snowy. You don't see any of the other characters. Anyway, after he wrote this, and even the controversial Tintin in Congo, Hedge did improve. He wrote Tintin in America, and from then on he improves a lot, and he becomes a household name all over the world. We generations have loved Tintin and have grown up reading Tintin. We all love Tintin and his friends, the boozing seaman, Captain Haddock, the eccentric Professor Calculus, then the out of tune Bianca Castafiore, Nestor, and Tintin's trusty dog Snowy, and of course I'm saving the best for the last. The two twins, Thompson and Thompson. Thompson with a P as in Philadelphia. A pair of bumbling detectives who often find themselves in very funny situations. They often find themselves in a lot of trouble, but in the end, they always manage to catch the bad guy. Good for them. And then, of course, we have the villains, the famous villains like Rastapopoulos, Mueller. Some of the villains also become friends, like the explosive General Alcazar. There are so many Tintins that we all remember. Let's have a look at some of them. This one is Tintin, King Ottokar's scepter. Then, which one is this? This is the Castafiore Emerald. And we have Tintin, the Broken Ear. And you have all these Tintins, which in all these later editions. So the last one is particularly interesting. Tintin and Alphard. This is the last Tintin. This is an incomplete Tintin. I think Hedge died as he was writing this, and you can read as So this is the comic Tintin and Alphard. As you can clearly see, it was in the process of being written, and he unfortunately passed away when he wrote this. So I started with the first Tintin, and I'm going to end with the last one. Now I'm going to talk about Asterix, like this Asterix in Obelix. This is Asterix and the Secret Weapon by Goscinny, the French, or Goscinny and Uderzo. Asterix and Caesar's Gift. This is Asterix, the hero. Which is your favorite Asterix? My favorite Asterix is will always be Asterix in Britain. And as you could see, uh, so this is Asterix in Britain. It's, for me, it is till date, it is the funniest comic that I've ever read. The way they spoof the English is just, I mean, is really, really funny, hilarious. And yeah, I mean, you also get to see so many English. Uh, I mean, you also get to see a game of rugby. There's, there's also one, and there is also a reference to the Beatles here, as you can. But I remember one very funny incident. So this is partly about. So the yes, Julius Caesar had invaded Britain, and in this Asterix in Britain, the comic, we see one part where there's a war between the Romans and the Brits. Now, as you know, the Brits often stop for tea at exactly 4 o'clock. Uh, in this comic, we see them stop. The Brits want to stop for milk, but the Romans do not agree, and much to the consternation of the Brits, the Romans do not agree, and the Brits very angrily call them cads and all that. Like I said, it is the funniest comic that I've read till date. Apart from Asterix, I also love Archie. This is Archie, and all the characters: Betty Cooper, Veronica Lodge, Archie, and of course the evil Reggie Mantle. Then Jughead and his bottomless pit, Moose and Midge, Chuck, Nancy. I mean, these are all memories of my teenage years. Josie and the Pussycats. It's all great, and of course, there's Archie's band, the Archies. Incidentally, in the 60s, there was a real band called the Archies, and their most well-known song was called Sugar Sugar, which is a song that the Archies in the book also sing. Right now, I'm going to move on to Tinkle. So, Tinkle is full of Indian characters. I mean, I remember whenever we used to travel by train, we used to always read Tinkle. I remember all the characters, some of the characters: Supandi, Shambhu, Shikari, then Kalia the crow. In fact, we can have a look. Then the monkey, Kapish. Then who else is there? Then there's we have Tantri the Mantri and his schemes to usurp his king's throne. And we have the twins Ramu and Shamu. These are all memories from my teenage years. Yeah. So then we have the crow. We have Kalia the crow. So that's it. These are my favorite. They're my favorite comics. What are your favorite comics? These days they have a lot of new, well, not new. They have lots of these DC and Marvel comics which I've not read, honestly. So, well, to each one their own, and that's it. Thank you for listening, and please do subscribe.